Konnichiwa!
Konnichiwa.
Konnichiwa.
What is up, everyone? And this is the first episode of the Perone Pirates podcast.
Hey.
All
Oh.
right, quiet down, quiet down. All right, so today we're looking to cover the topic of parallels between animated shows and real life. So let's jump right into it. Just to confirm something, you guys have watched One Piece, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely. One of my
All right,
favorites.
great. So, did you guys know that the concept of looking down on fishermen in One Piece was based on segregation and racism shown throughout
What?
history?
No way.
Yeah. So, many people grew up watching and loving anime and anime shows. I'm sure y'all did.
Of
And
course.
still love them to this day. And, a lot of people like them because they're funny or have a nice story. But something no one really talks about is parallels that these animated shows have to real life. So today, what I'm looking to cover with y'all is some parallels between animated shows and real life. So do you guys have any thing in mind as of right now?
Yeah, I actually wanted to
Yeah,
talk to you guys
so
about one of my favorite shows. Do you guys know Gravity Falls?
Yeah.
my
Yeah,
favorite show as a kid.
yeah. So one of the main reasons I actually used to watch it was because every episode seemed like an adventure, and it was just like so happy every single episode. And basically, the show was about the main characters, Dipper and Mabel, having to go on a summer vacation to their uncle Stan's house, and along with their friend Seuss. So after 40 episodes of just like happiness, new adventures, and it just seemed like a really happy show. And it was weird seeing that the last episode was actually a very sad episode because it just it's just a complete contrast of what this series was. And what happened was that Dipper and Mabel had to say goodbye to Susan and their uncle Stan because summer ended and they had to go back home, and like everybody was crying and like the vibe was just different. And I didn't really notice that as a kid, but until now I realized that this was because they were both scared of change, which is something that happens to everyone. I feel like that's happening to us currently. I don't know about you guys, but I'm getting kind of scared from moving on from high school, turning into an adult.
Yeah, I
But
mean, for
yeah,
sure.
Yeah,
A lot,
absolutely.
a lot of times I find myself pondering on that, like kind of the thought of, will I make it after high school? I'm gonna be on my own, and it's just that constant, almost burden of becoming an adult.
yeah,
Yeah,
I've been.
definitely that fear of change from being just a high schooler with no responsibility to becoming a full-on adult. Yeah, that fear of change really hits me sometimes.
Well, yeah, but whether it's going from leaving your a vacation house, or, like us high schoolers, anything, everyone is dealing with change, and I feel like it's a problem that is showed very well in the show. Do you guys
Yeah.
have any other examples?
Yeah, absolutely. So one anime that I really like is called Tokyo Revengers.
That's a good one.
And
Mm,
in Tokyo Revengers, it really focuses on young men and young teenagers being caught up in gangs and gang violence due to their surroundings, as being in like a not very good neighborhood. And Tokyo Revengers the plot centers around the main character Takemichi, who has to travel back in time to his younger days as a teenager in a gang to save to change events to save his girlfriend in the future. I mean, in the present. And so the show mainly focuses on his life as a teenager and how he was a delinquent in a gang. And you can see in the episodes how gang violence really affects the people around him. There's even sad cases of death that, it really impacts everyone around him and himself, especially because he grieves them a lot. But this can be seen in real life a lot. Every day we see on the news, you know, kids, young teenagers dying from gang violence.
yeah,
It's
so
really
sad.
sad,
Yeah.
the show Tokyo Revengers takes place in Tokyo, which is a very urban area. But this also happens in urban areas in the U.S., like Chicago, New York, and
hmm
L.A. A lot of gang violence happens and leads to a lot of death and crime, which is very sad,
Yeah. Wait.
unfortunately.
Sorry to cut you off here, but I'm not sure if this is true. I want to see if you can confirm it. But wasn't the story of like the Tomon gang based on a real life gang in Tokyo? Like the
I'm
you know
so
what it's
glad
called?
you brought that up. Yes, so the story of Tomon, which is the gang that our main character Takemichi is in, is actually based on the real life story of a gang in Tokyo called the Black Emperors. And this gang was prominent in Tokyo in the 1960s as protesters of the Vietnam War.
Hmm,
Mm.
interesting. So, if y'all don't mind, I'm gonna get into my point here about the fishermen in One Piece. So, something I kind of came to realization with along with some research, I see that these fishmen grew to hate humans over time. Like, obviously, they weren't born hating humans, but the way humans kind of like had these fishmen subject to oppression and slavery and caused them so much suffering, these fishmen have grown to develop a hate for humans. And now it's almost kind of they're in a state of segregation. They don't talk to each other and they don't ever want to see each other. And I kind of see this throughout, like, if you look back in even just American history, you can see how races grew apart and grew to almost not like each other, which has changed over time. Now everyone's come to peace and we have somewhat equality. Um,
I would agree. I would agree. Much different
Yeah,
from like,
I actually have a question. So, as an avid One Piece fan, as well, do you think the Fishmen being superior in terms of strength and power kind of influences that segregation?
yeah, I think definitely these humans are kind of almost jealous of the fishman's ability. So that's why they treat them the way they do and look so lowly of them. Um, it's also something with the celestial dragons. You guys are familiar with them?
oh yeah,
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 they're
they have the most power,
the
right?
people with the
yeah, the
most,
most
yes,
powerful. So
with the most status.
what you can see is they even still in One Piece have the slaves, which has kind of been outlawed in the rest of the show, than for those rich people. And I guess you can kind of relate that to real life in the sense of rich people are the most powerful people in the world. Like the billionaires have so much tug and pull on the state and economics of the United States of America. So I just thought that was also a
Yeah, they can
connection that
find
could
a
be
way
made.
to go around the rules, just like how the
That's a
Celestial
great
Dragons.
example.
Yeah.
Another example I thought of as well is, in history, like very rich slave owners in the past, they used African Americans who were genetically stronger and more, yeah, genetically stronger than white people. They were exploited in cotton plantations as well.
Poor guys.
Yeah, I think those are all really good points that we made there. And thank you guys for talking about that. I think you guys just have some good prior knowledge on this subject.
Thank
Yeah,
you. Thank you.
thank
You
you.
too.
Yeah, so I mean, I guess that kind of wraps up this episode. What do you guys think?
Oh yeah, I think
Yeah.
we had some good
And
points from being scared of change to all the way up to slavery, and I'm really glad we got to talk about these parallels and some of the shows we grew up watching.
Hmm.
so, and yeah, with all that being said, I hope you guys really enjoyed our podcast on talking about our favorite anime shows. And we hope that you see anime shows and animes from a different view and start to understand the parallels that we can see between anime and real life. Animes and anime shows they take inspiration from real world issues and they put it into their shows in a unique way, as we can see by all the examples we have. So although they don't exactly match, the core concept and the lessons we learn can really be used in real life. So the next time you watch an anime or an animated show, try and notice these parallels to real life topics and maybe try and learn from these lessons and act better or do something different. Thank you for watching and I hope you enjoyed
Yep.
our podcast.
Thank you guys.
Bye.
Sayonara.